dugout. That's a line that I'm saying after 2 months.
Music to the ears.
About 2 months.
Give
or
it time.
59 days.
No, once the World Cup starts again, you may not have dugout.
Exactly. No, but some days we will. There'll be days when Uganda will be Scotland.
There'll be lots of days like that.
Exactly. Another 5-6 editions at max you're looking at, and again there'll be a 1 month halt.
No, I think there'll be a consistent thing.
5 days over there.
There'll be dugout in the middle of the World Cup. Now
Exactly.
only India match day you won't be doing.
Yeah.
When Scotland is playing Uganda.
As I just said.
So 5, 9,
US
11
and
will
Canada.
not have the dugout because India matches are there. 5, 9,
No, don't get into specifics, whichever it is.
Bhavna ko samjho.
Yes.
Okay.
This was music to the ears. Welcome to the dugout.
We are live on the dugout. What we're going to do is, because the group stages have gotten over, I'm sure you're reading the title. That's a topic we'll touch upon also, because it's the trending topic. It is the most debated topic. It involves MS Dhoni, it involves a Virat Kohli, it has the internet divide. We'll get to that. But firstly, because it's the first day where we've been allowed to get off the treadmill a bit. Every day, matches, coming thick and fast. So we're so involved with analyzing each match, analyzing, ups and downs in the points table of each team, that you forget to look at the larger picture, the macro picture. So now that the group stages are over, we can look back at the IPL that's gone by. So let's also try and reflect as to what our predictions were. Also try and look back as to what has really surprised us. What is it that we didn't expect? What is it that happened as per our expectations? So let's look back at the group stages, our memories, the worst of it, the best of it, and then we'll dive into the topic that you all really want to listen to, because believe you me, there are various angles to that story, of the handshake story, as I said, the internet is divided. I'm sure we will also be divided in our opinion. So we'll get into that a little later. But firstly, let's embarrass ourselves a bit. Look back at our predictions.
Oh God!
So go not to the Sports Today prediction where we had to come to a common consensus. Go to your individual predictions. The 4 teams that each of us had picked, and which is the one that has disappointed you the most, and which is the team that surprised you the most. Whoever wants to start.
I will.
Okay. I think the team that's disappointed the most, we'll all have the same answer to it.
No, it'll come. Your turn will come.
Okay, so
may not be the same answer.
The teams that I picked at the start to make it to the playoffs were MI, KKR, CSK, LSG. Out of that, only one has qualified, and that is KKR. The team, if you look at it, that has disappointed me the most is Chennai Super Kings, because of their inconsistency that they have shown. This was past Chennai Super Kings. When you looked at it, they had consistency in all facets. That's why they would establish a winning streak. If they had a slump, which they would have, it would make up for it. Yeah. So that is why they would invariably go into the playoffs. But this time, beset by injuries, beset by loss of form of so many players, Chennai Super Kings, you look at it, 2 matches won, 2 matches lost. Then again 2 matches won, 2 matches lost. One lost, up, down, up, down. It was so inconsistent.
You can do it again, what you did yesterday.
2 matches won.
The Jugalbandi we saw from you.
2 matches won, 2 matches lost. 2 matches won, 2 matches lost. WL. That was the thing.
Okay, that's disappointing. The one that
has really surprised me is Royal Challengers Bengaluru. I mean, 8 matches, 1 win and 7 losses. We all thought, yes, it's a typical RCB season of 2017 or 2019. But the way they have won 6 consecutive games, no one expected that streak, honestly, from this team. Yeah. So that has been the biggest surprise for me, RCB's winning streak and their playoff match.
Okay, before we get to the next person picking up, the only reason I would disagree with you, picked Chennai as the biggest disappointment. Of course, is his opinion. I probably would have picked CSK also, because they didn't make the playoff. But the only leeway that I'll give them, the benefit of the doubt that I'll give them this season, is because they had a lot of injuries to a lot of crucial players, and I think that dented their chances. When all of us picked CSK to make the qualification, we looked at their team and basis that team we thought that they would. But little did any one of us would have known that Fizz would have to go back, and that Patirana would get injured,
Deepak Chahar also.
Exactly. So those things we didn't account for. Once that happened, you were going to find it tough to qualify. That is why I will not consider them as a biggest disappointment. But point well taken from Siddharth. Who's going next?
I'll go next because I think no one is topping me when it comes to bad predictions.
Zero.
Lovely. A big fat 0.
So who are your 4 teams?
My 4 teams were MI, CSK, GT and LSG. I'm pretty sure aside from CSK, all other 3 teams, LSG was 7th, GT were 8th, MI were 10th. That is, as I said, that is like next level. You can frame that. It's Hall of Fame bad worthy when it comes to making predictions.
You're in my list. 074.
Has he bettered what you did in 2022?
No one can better
No one can better that. I'm sorry. That is if mine is Hall of Fame,
Mine is
Hall of Shame.
Oh, look.
yeah.
Hall of Infamy.
That is
Hall
next
of
level.
Shame. Sorry, Shane.
So Hall of Shame.
Hall of Shame.
Hall of Shame. Where I got not one prediction right, and then to top everything, I didn't pick my own team to make it there, and then they topped me.
But that's a good thing.
No, that was good.
You set aside your emotions and looked at it as a
Correct.
cricket angle.
Correct.
That's good.
And then that brings me to the next part of your question. Your biggest surprise, KKR's run. Even if I thought in my wildest dreams that they would be qualifying, I thought maybe 3rd, 4th they'd be fighting it out and they'd get there close. But record season for them, first time ever topping the points table. Net run rate, which they have a 1.428 or something, is the highest ever recorded in the history of the IPL when it comes to net run rates in the group stages. So they've surpassed all expectations. I know RCB, and I'll give them an honorary mention. But even for me, the standards that KKR was setting as a fan, I've never seen. Even in the GG era, both years you finished 2nd. So you've topped the table, on one better.
Okay, so prediction you got 0. Biggest surprise is KKR.
My own team.
And biggest disappointment apart from your own prediction.
MI.
You could pick yourself.
I'm not picking myself because I've already, I think, roasted myself enough. Biggest disappointment, of course, has to be Mumbai Indians. I mean, oh my God, everything that could go wrong. I always say this, as far as MI were concerned, this was the Murphy's Law of seasons. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, and then some. I mean, it's even beyond, because it started off badly and you keep thinking, we say, this team has hit rock bottom. No, they found new ways of digging themselves into deeper holes. So, MI, biggest disappointment.
As far as predictions go, I only have one team that I predicted to be in the top 4. My predictions were CSK, MI, GT and RR. So only RR end up being there. They were, by the way, doing very well to put me in the same category as Shane, but I just managed myself.
Ironically, thanks to your team.
Yeah, thanks to my team.
Because DC beat LSG and that's what made them qualify. Otherwise...
and I didn't have my own team for the same reasons, but mighty happy with where DC finished this year, might I also add. The biggest surprise, Rajasthan finishing 3rd is a bit of a surprise. I was really expecting them to be top 2.
Okay.
But actually, if there's one team that's really taken me by surprise, in the
you
top
said
4.
Biggest surprise is only no.
Correct, both. The bigger surprise.
No.
The
So
bigger
then Rajasthan is not big surprise.
3rd finish, I think.
Which is your biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise is RCB.
Okay.
RCB, the biggest. I will go back to what I was looking at them as a team after the auction. Even when we were building up, I thought they were competing for the wooden spoon. I really thought that this was a team fighting it out for 7, 8, 9, 10, those positions. Not even 7 perhaps. But solely because you knew, they would again be relying on their big batters, KGF and whatnot, batting heavy side, glaring weaknesses when it comes to gaping holes that they had in the bowling department. But they've done well, they've surprised us all. You were also expecting them to be, they have a woeful record at home, they had to be very good visitors to be able to give themselves a chance. They've proven many of us wrong as well with that 6-game winning run that they've had. So the biggest surprise for me, RCB, especially after the start that they had, they were going to be bottom 3 for me. They're top 4.
And disappointment you said was?
Mumbai.
Mumbai
Are the biggest disappointment. Yeah. You thought that, the captain and the batter, the all-rounder and Hardik Pandya that you'd seen for GT, for them to have managed to snap him up ahead of the auction, you thought that it sort of completed the puzzle for Mumbai Indians. Yes, you knew they were a spinner shot, but at the auction, I remember this looked like a very well-rounded team with a Madwal there, with a Bumrah there, Vadera, etc., etc. Surya, all of that put together, for this side, it defies cricketing logic, how they find themselves at the bottom of the table. Biggest surprise of the season so far.
Okay. My prediction score is also 1 out of 4, much like Harshit and Siddharth. So my 4 were LSG, Mumbai Indians, CSK and RR. So RR is the only team that has, saved me from joining Shane.
Hall of Shane.
Yeah, though I had put KKR at 5 and I was tempted to put them in there, but it was a close call at that time between CSK and KKR, and I just gave CSK that chance ahead of KKR. But 1 out of 4 is my score, so nothing better.
Only Saransh has got 3 out of 4.
We don't know, he didn't not documented.
No, it's there. It's on the encrypted WhatsApp chats.
Achha. Then okay. Then it's fine. It's written. Yeah,
Yes. These guys are also there, so they know.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So my biggest disappointment, of course, Mumbai, as all of you have said, but I'll pick another team also, is LSG, because I'd actually picked LSG to win the title.
Oh yeah.
I think they had the team to win the title, and that is why for them finishing 7. Why I'm not putting Mumbai, though I picked Mumbai to be in top 4, but I didn't pick them as the title winning team.
Yeah.
So for me, a title winning team finishing 7th, I think, is the biggest disappointment, and primarily not because of the team that they had, but the blunders that they made, which we have, spoken of plenty of times on our different shows. So like man-made blunders, which are like decision and management made blunders. That's why they are. So that's biggest disappointment. The biggest surprise for me, I'm going with SRH, because they finished top 2. KKR, see, I would have gone KK, but because I was already on the verge of putting KKR in top 4, so it doesn't surprise me that they are there. SRH, I hadn't really thought of it, and neither did I think of RCB. But RCB has had a minor miracle to reach there, but SRH didn't, which is why a bigger surprise, because SRH has like sailed through. This is a team that finished bottom of the table last season, and to be there as 2 of the best teams this season, that's been the biggest surprise for me. I had put them like a mid-table team, like 5th, 6th, 7th sort of a team for me. For them to be second with that dominant performance, consistency is something that I did not associate with SRH. I thought they'll have 1 or 2 brilliant games where the batting will get a lot of runs, but they'll more often than not be inconsistent and be outside the top 4, but they've really surprised me. Who are the ones that you had picked to win? Like I had picked LSG, you had gone with MI.
MI.
I don't remember making a season prediction.
Okay.
Winner prediction that way. Top 4. I
One player that has really blown your mind, you never expected this season. One player.
Abhishek Sharma.
Nitish Reddy for me. Because Reddy offers you the total package. Bowler, very sensible bat, gun fielder. He's a fantastic fielder. That's why
Abhishek Sharma, for the reason, yes, you've seen the lad around, he's played with Delhi at one point, he's been around the system, but nobody thought or nobody viewed him as an attacking batter who would match the likes of a Travis Head. He's playing alongside a Travis Head. Yes, you heard comments from a Yuvraj saying that watch out for him, this and that. You knew about his abilities, but he's really taken to not 1, but I would say 3 levels higher. At present as well, his strike rate somewhere around 200. Look at his last few innings as well. How many batters do we know in this edition that give you 60, 70, 80 runs of 25 odd balls? So his strike rate, I'd put him as one of the central reasons why SRH find themselves where they are right now. The only reason,
I mean, Abhishek, I would not pick, he's had a great season, is because I knew that he was there, right? Because he had played some wow stuff earlier. The only thing that changed this time, he was consistent. Otherwise, he would like have 1 high or 2 and then would just falter along. But he's been consistent. But the player that's like really shocked you. So you've got Nitish Reddy. 1,
It's a tough pick, but I would probably go with Shashank Singh. He was someone who really, an absolute journeyman in domestic cricket. A guy who no one had really heard of that much, because he was, again, even though he was around the IPL system, he was always that guy used either as a nets person or as someone to just fill out your roster. SRH had him for years, didn't do anything with him. And then he just needed 1 chance, 2 chances to really show, and I think him and Ashutosh is an honorable mention there as well, because them as a duo, they really kind of propelled Punjab Kings from 10th to 9th on the table.
I would be tempted to go with a Sunil Narine, the batter. Sunil Narine, the bowler, everyone, but the batter, Again, 1 or 2 knocks here and there, I would have been okay. But the consistency with which he's batted, I could have never even thought of it in my wildest dream. If you had told me that he'd be number 10 in the list of highest run getters and probably top 5 in terms of 200, 300 plus run batters with a strike rate, in terms of his strike rate, he'd be in the top 3, I'm guessing. 300 plus runs with a
161 runs, 182 strike rate.
Yeah,
strike rate.
so because you can't just have purely strike rate. For someone who's got 150 runs, very high strike rate makes no sense. So let's say 400 runs plus all players, like that means decent
top 3.
Yeah, decent sort of innings. 400 plus would be a decent IPL. And then you look at the strike rate, has to be top 3. So that put together, Sunil Narine, the batter,
plus the bowling.
Siddharth has a smirk on his face. I don't know why.
Why?
Because I'm reminded of that stat. Whenever an all-rounder has scored over 400 and taken 15 plus wickets for KKR,
No, for any team.
they have gone on to win the title.
Oh, they're looking good. But is his bowling, I know it's bowling has been outstanding, but bowling I could have imagined that okay, maybe he turns
He'll
back
make
the
a comeback.
yeah, he turns back the clock. One good season, you never know, right?
No one expected.
Batting this consistency, the kind of impact he's had. An honourable mention that the player that really impressed me is Mayank Yadav. I know he had a very short stint because of injury, but boy, that short stint was
Electrifying.
He was the talk of the town. He was the number
dismissal
one.
of Cam Green.
Everyone. If only he had played 5 more games.
Oh yeah,
LSG would have been in.
LSG would have been there.
Incredible. So 2 players that totally wowed me. Like
157 km.
I didn't. Mayank, I was tempted to pick, but the sample size got reduced
but
to
imagine,
3-4. Yeah.
But imagine in that 3-4
He
games
left
you have
you
this
leaving-
impact.
Exactly. He
When
left
I'm
you
talking
wanting
about
to
it, we are
more.
talking about him.
Yeah.
In those 3-4 games.
With Sunil, by the way, one thing I had to mention is that this year he seems to have changed his batting. Yeah, he's still slogging, but at times he'll tend to outwit bowlers as well. I remember that game against LSG. At one point, they had the field kind of up and everyone up front. Ravi Bishnoi bowling to him, so they're kind of expecting that he'll take him on and go for the long shots, which he did. That's how he got out. But he also saw Bishnoi darting them in, so what does he do when he opens his bat? Runs it past short third. I'm like, is this Sunil Narine I'm watching? And the biggest irony about everything, this man doesn't attend batting team meetings.
That's why he's good.
He doesn't. His reasoning for it, I don't want to clutter my mind.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.
He's like, why complicate?
Why
Just keep
complicate
it
things?
simple.
Perhaps if there is one more, if I may add to the list, Jake Fraser McGurk.
For DC.
Yeah.
Man, first season of IPL seemed the real deal.
Actually, if you're talking about DC players, another one honorable mention, although we knew what he could do, Tristan Stubbs.
Tristan Stubbs, yes.
Stubbs had done it everywhere but the IPL. And
But we thought Travis Head, at that time we were thinking, oh God, Travis Head and Jake Fraser McGurk together. Oh, bowlers. It's terrible for you. So that's why Delhi, if it made for very, very good viewing, it was because of these two, Jake Fraser McGurk and Tristan Stubbs.
You could argue Delhi season could have been very different had Fraser McGurk been unleashed earlier.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, let's turn our attention
To
the talking point.
so
Mudda.
a bit of a
The
backdrop
issue,
before.
No backdrop, everyone knows who
Everyone
joins us. You can sum it up in 1 or 2 lines, which is match got over, close match, RCB CSK, and MS Dhoni was seen, or rather not seen, shaking hands with RCB players. He went off the field, okay?
While waiting.
Having waited.
Let's hear everyone's opinion on what they think of the incident, who is to be blamed, and we'll have some supporting images and quotes to go on with that. This is that one image. So, what did you make of it? Who wants to start?
I'll go last.
Go.
okay, unpopular opinion, but I feel
We'll go
like
last.
Third, I mean, after
No,
Shane
I'll
or
go last.
after Shane finishes, I'll go.
that's second. Alright, so look, I understood why it is that people found it a little this thing, but this is just one of those very, dare I say, it's only cricket tropes that I've never quite understood. Never ever. Listen, the kind of win that RCB put off, they had every right to celebrate however long they wanted. No one is obligated to say that, oh, they should be shaking hands first. I know the example people are citing is that Dhoni did the same in the IPL final
CSK
2023.
GT, yeah.
That, before asking his players to celebrate, he said, no, but then that is a personal subjective thing. in whatever way, shape or form, there is no written rule or even an unwritten rule that you need to temper your celebrations and then go and first shake hands. At that point, boss, your emotions are flowing out. And I don't blame RCB players for celebrating the way they did. CSK has been their biggest, nemesis over their entire existence in the IPL. I don't blame them. Also, it was sealing a playoffs win that I never thought possible. And honestly, I found Dhoni's annoyance also a little weird. You could have shaken hands with them after the match was done in the dressing room.
I'll come to that bit, but okay.
No,
point
let him
taken.
finish.
And truth be told, I just found it's a storm in a teacup, but it's just one of those things which is very unique and intrinsic to cricket.
No, I don't think it's a storm in a teacup because see, again, while it's a minor and you can have whatever opinion, and I'm sure we'll agree, disagree, and there's no right or wrong as such. But the thing is that, see, this is a very important thing that happens in a game after it's done. And if you're going to walk off, not shaking hands, whether you are right or wrong is another thing which we'll debate. It's not something that can be brushed under the carpet. It is, if I'm the, so either way, let's
Do you mean it
look
from
at
the RCB perspective or
both,
MSD's
both.
perspective?
So let's say if I'm RCB, for me it's a massive thing. I'm not taking this lightly, and I would, hold this against the player. If I'm looking at it from CSK's point of view, they're not doing it. If let's say I'm siding with an MS, well, I'll get to my opinion later, but I'm still siding with them. Even then, I'd be very upset that, So here the thing is, the handshake is important. Whether CSK believe that RCB are at the wrong, taking time and not doing it and disrespecting me, even then it's important to discuss. Or whether I'm looking at it from RCB's point of view, saying that he should have waited for me for some time, and they are upset is also right. So my point is, the issue per se is very important.
Legitimate.
Yeah, and whoever is aggrieved party at the moment has all the right to be aggrieved because this is disrespecting the other team. Now, who is feeling disrespected is something else we'll get to.
I thought at this point, see, he's waiting there, right? Is that, as you can see, he's waiting at the edge of the boundary.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, you want to shake hands, fair. I think it's there, it's a rule, or it's an unwritten rule.
You must shake hands.
It's an unwritten rule in all sports that you shake hands.
Yeah.
But you do kind of also wait for the other team to gather your emotions.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with whatever your opinion is. But I'm saying it can't be that, listen, the shake hand didn't happen, so it's okay. How does it matter?
No, I'm saying
I think the shake hand is important.
No, it's not.
Now, whoever is responsible for not having that shake hand should be spoken.
No. My point was not that it shouldn't happen at all. My point is that a lot is being made out of it from both sides of the spectrum, in the sense that it was something that could have been avoided by both sides very easily.
Yes.
Very easily. RCB could have also gone over. And you are not wrong in saying that. Similarly, I think in this case, CSK could have also waited to compose things.
Yeah, so what is it that you think has happened? That's what I want to know.
I mean,
both things could have happened, I know, and then there wouldn't be an issue.
I think Dhoni kind of
should have waited a bit.
He should have waited longer. Instead of waiting that way, the way he did, there's a dugout. It's literally right there on the edge of the boundary. Wait there, let the players come, and then just shake hands. I understand RCB celebrating the way they did.
You felt a bit salty. Is that why?
More than a little bit salty.
Salty, not because of the celebration,
no, but
because of the result.
They were made to wait.
No, or because of the result.
Oh, could be.
What do you reckon?
Could be all of the above. For me, I thought it was more a case of, listen, I'm standing here, we're standing here, and you're celebrating. I don't like this. I'm out. I didn't like that. Okay. You have to let the players celebrate.
That's also conjecture. You don't know. I have one more view of it.
Okay. So you want to go next?
Yeah. I could go next.
Okay.
Yeah. If Siddharth's fine with that.
No.
I'm of a different view. See, yes, it holds true, can be said, but pure conjecture that Dhoni ran out of patience. The man's known for calm composure, everything, but we've seen him storm to the pitch as well. So it's not like, he comes in with bucket loads of composure at all times. We've seen it lose.
Yeah.
It could be the case that he lost patience. That's number one, but I don't think that necessarily is the reason.
Okay.
It could also be Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and this is conjecture from my end. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, whatever, we know he's had a troubled season in terms of his fitness levels. His knee has been dodgy and whatnot. Maybe he just he could not stand further. He wanted to go back. So just giving him some leeway over there.
No, I don't think that's happened. If you see the video, it has nothing to do with the injury. That I think is not a possibility. No. That's not. See, it has to be two things. Whichever way, I don't know. One, he runs out of patience. Okay. Again, two, he does not run out of patience.
Yeah.
He is upset with the way that he's been made to wait, he finds that disrespectful, which is also.
But did he wait enough, or could he have waited enough?
See, if you see the video,
Yeah.
he is there.
Yeah.
He waits, and they're not coming, and then he does this, and he walks off.
Agreed. But I am very clear.
I don't think injury can be the reason.
To the question, if he could have waited more, I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
Why I say that is because you see, the two CSK players are still not off the field, or they're still, they're still at the halfway mark. They're still, in fact, on close to the mark where you have the 30-yard circle. They're still not off the pitch fully, off the field per se. So it's still taking time. Let's say it's not like so that just tells you that it's not been that he's waiting for good 3 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes. You're talking about 100 seconds at the moment. That's all that it takes for the two batters in the middle to be crossing the 30-yard mark. So could he have waited more? I think the answer to that is yes. I based that
because you are showing the still, please, Pawan.
Yes.
So he is actually showing the fact that Harshit is saying that the openers are coming and they are near the 30-yard circle. They've also shaken hands at the time before, and so he feels the waiting time was not too much.
Yes, could have.
And so should have waited a bit.
It takes you about 40-50 seconds to cross the entire length of the pitch. It doesn't take you more than that. It doesn't take you a minute to walk off. We've all went to cricket fields. We know that. So I'm basing my argument 1 on that. 2. Were RCB obligated to take cognizance of the fact that the opposing team was waiting for them? The answer is no. They were playing a crunch match. They have all the right to celebrate. There is no protocol as to how long the celebrations must be. And I don't expect 11 people who are fighting for their lives over there to be having a third eye at the back of their head and seeing whether MS Dhoni or whosoever it is for that matter is waiting to shake hands with them or not. Basic courtesy goes, yes, you shake hands after the match is done, and I read report that some of them did go to the opposition camp and find Mahendra Singh Dhoni, shake hands with him as well. Good on them, but were they obligated to stop their celebration shot, take into cognizance that the other team was waiting for them? Perhaps not. What would have been wrong is, knowing very well that they were there, that they snubbed them. Snubbing a handshake is a different thing altogether. So if people are looking at this as a handshake being snubbed, this is a handshake delayed, not a handshake snubbed. So that's where I feel that RCB were well within their rights to celebrate. They were under the pump through the course of those 120 deliveries. It took those 120 deliveries to determine, or at least 118 deliveries to know what was happening with RCB, and they were well within their rights. Yes, Dayal was within his rights to be, circling around the pitch. So was Virat Kohli running around the stadium. So was everyone. So I don't expect any winning team from where they were a month back. If they get a win like this, I'm not going to be seeing who's waiting for me, regardless of this being Dhoni's last game or not. Okay,
so just to sum up the two opinions, because we can't help but take sides. Such is the matter. So Shane feels that MSD is on the wrong, could have waited a bit more. They have all the right to celebrate. Ditto for Harshit, feels that here at this point MSD is on the wrong, could have waited a little bit more for RCB to come, considering the openers are also coming out right now. Okay, Siddharth, sorry, from second you've been pushed to third, but
no problem. But see,
now you know what RR feel like.
I know.
Or what others feel like, because you take the first or the second chance, so then Harshit always gets third.
Sure. There is no issue or whatever, but then see, in sports, whenever you look at it, even in the most, you may say, high pressure situations, look at the 2019 World Cup. Okay, look at all that. Look at even the 2011 or 12, the Premier League season, okay, when all the matches were done, even in a high pressure situation, you did shake hands and then the celebrations followed afterwards. Number one. Number two, MSDians and all the other cricket fans are like raising this issue up because it's an MS Dhoni at the other end. Number one. If there was any other player, supposing, role reversal, if Virat was there, Chennai Super Kings were celebrating the way how RCB was celebrating, Virat walks off, what would have been the major thing? Oh, he's too egoistical.
He don't band.
He's too egoistical. He doesn't like anybody else celebrating. That would have been the common trend going on social media, right? Now the entire injury thing yesterday in that 18.
No, injury cannot be. He can keep for 20 overs. So it's not that he can't stand.
And he was running quicker than ever.
No, so injury to his
okay.
Either he's right that he felt disrespected and he walked off. Fair enough if somebody has that view. Somebody feels that no, he should have waited like Shane and he could have allowed them to celebrate. It was also fair.
Here,
injury cannot be the.
No. That theory is totally hogwash in that sense, because He ran quicker. He kept also very
Yeah,
good.
so don't get into
So,
it. Yeah.
the other things, both RCB and CSK are guilty in this particular case. Because see, how much time has the match elapsed? The likes of Shardul and Jadeja are just coming out the 30-yard circle, hardly 20-30 seconds.
Yes.
They are already there waiting 20-30 seconds. Another 30 seconds more they could have celebrated. Okay, that's the thing I'm taking on RCB side. But already you are seeing, okay, I'm turning, shaking hands with the RCB coaching staff over there and walking off. Why can't MS Dhoni have waited? Why? Is it because that, oh, I've been denied a farewell, okay, in Chepauk. The hurt is there, the disappointment is there. At least I don't want to see the opponent rubbing it in my face. I mean, that time the mindset, they are rubbing it in my face. Okay, they are won in front of their fans.
So you think he's more upset about losing the game
Yes.
and walking off,
Yes.
not because of
He's
waiting.
mortal. He is mortal. This loss hurt him the most because Chennai Super Kings were denied. Tala's farewell was denied. Now he wants to play one more game in Chennai, but when will that one more game come?
Next
We
year.
don't know.
That's another thing.
Okay?
Huh.
So he's hurt. First time, not the first time, after 5 years, we are seeing the mortal side of MS Dhoni. When that wide wasn't given in that RR game, he stormed onto the field. It's another thing the BCCI or the IPL didn't ban him for 5-6 games. He should have been banned because you can't do that. Here, he was hurt. RCB were rubbing it in his face right in front of him. He said, I can't take it. I have to go back. That was the first reaction. So in this, Dhoni walking off without having waited, you could have waited for 30-40 seconds more. I can understand from where he comes from. Okay, he felt that, okay, in that GT versus CSK game, equally high pressure. But there he said, okay, when all were celebrating in this way, Dhoni said, no, wait. First shake hands with them. Then we go full hog. See, he's pointing.
So that's right. Then you're saying what Dhoni is doing. I'm confused because
he
you said
expected others to follow suit, but that didn't happen. So in this case, everywhere Dhoni had
he's
that
right
misconception.
then. So he's right then.
He had the misconception that maybe others would also follow that, but that's where he was wrong.
But this is a subjective thing, no? I mean, you don't need
No,
to.
so I know, but I'm
But
trying to
here
get
he's
what
totally wrong to expect it. He's totally wrong because RCB celebrated. Okay, they have every right to celebrate. Okay, 30-40 seconds or maybe 1-2 minutes more. The team could have waited. After all, they were like, okay, it was a momentous occasion. But RCB also, let us look at the other side.
Which side? What now you're saying RCB is wrong? You're going to tell me.
No. I had started off the debate by saying both sides are in the wrong and it's only gotten exasperated because it's MS Dhoni at the other end. Both
Yeah,
sides
so
are wrong.
I've got the point. Now RCB is also at fault. So nobody's at fault.
Both are at fault.
RCB's fault?
Okay, you've managed to win. You've gotten a playoff chance. Okay. But considering, this is what the other experts have stated, that this is probably the last time you'll see MS Dhoni. Considering. You could have taken about 7-8 seconds.
So Siddharth, you're confusing me now. I got your one point. So you're saying that MS should have not waited this and that, should have waited.
Should have waited.
But now you're saying if it's his last game and he felt then maybe then he was right, no then. So I'm
only arguing for RCB's thing.
Don't argue for both sides, argue for yourself. What do you think is right?
He's
I've got
playing advocate
confused.
and devil's advocate.
I've got confused. So I understood the first point
First
she made
point.
that MS should have stayed. Now he's saying, but it's his last game. So then MS was right to walk off. It's his last game. You're decision.
कहना क्या चाहते हो?
Look, I will only say one thing, okay? If so,
I
as
just want to
not-
know your opinion. Forget
MS
RCB.
Dhoni is wrong.
Forget RCB. Forget. What
to
do you
make a
think
case
should have
for
happened
RCB.
here?
MS Dhoni is wrong.
Should have waited.
He should
have waited.
He
Okay.
should have waited.
Now, okay.
But then
now,
that statement doesn't hold true where he said that both parties are at fault.
But then I had to take one who's more at fault.
The
no,
ground rules were clear. I had to
both
take
can't,
one.
see, Baba, my point is both can't be at fault. Now, either RCB should have been mindful of a few things, okay, and should have come to shake hands with MS. That could be one view. The other is no, MS could have waited a bit more or gone and shaken hand. I can only understand one thing.
No, but the situations
if
demanded that. No? The situations demanded this because, look, the waiting time was also not that great. It was very minuscule. But yet Dhoni walked off. That's why 51% of it is Dhoni's fault total.
Exactly my point. No.
51% of it.
Achha.
But look,
Okay, finish the other. We'll give the 49% also.
49% look.
Because I'm not. What I want to
It's
know
very apt
is,
that 49% is the Bangalore.
no,
side.
because what I'm
Bangalore.
saying is, if it is a 50-50 case, then nobody is at fault.
Sorry.
Then forget it. Let's pack up and go home.
Look, I can't defend RCB also in this case.
Arey?
How? What is the justification? That
You
you're
only said
celebrating.
both parties are wrong over here.
So that's what I'm
Let
not.
him say. Go ahead.
See,
Go ahead. We have
in,
5 minutes left. Go ahead.
in no way can RCB's celebration, just because they entered the playoffs, be used as an excuse. Excuse me, RCB, it's really, really sad on their part that they couldn't take a little bit of time out and then do their boisterous celebrations around the Chinnaswamy. I'm sorry. Take a bit of time, shake the players' hands, and then walk off. And then do whatever you want to
So
do.
then why did you just now rant about MS Dhoni? If RCB, okay, let me take, sir, 1 second. Let me take this point. Okay, I agree with you. Whatever your opinion, that RCB should have finished that celebration and gone and shaken the hand. Then why you went for like 11 minutes saying that MS Dhoni went on? Then MS was right. Why couldn't RCB come and shake the hands and then do the celebration?
But Dhoni is much more in the wrong. And this kind of situation,
Baba.
there can't be any kind of justification. Both can be right or both can be wrong.
So we go with the argument which is 51%
I'm trying
to
to
Dhoni, we go
understand
with that.
how this, if RCB also could have stopped the celebration, shaken the hands, if MS also should have waited and then so there is nothing to.
But the first sentence, what I had said, it was because it's an MS Dhoni at the other end. That is why the situation's gotten exasperated. And had given the justification, if Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli would have done the same.
Okay, we have to hurry up now. I also have a turn to say what I think is right. We have 5 minutes left. But before I come, let's quickly go what the experts have said. Okay, so I can only address it to Harshit and Shane because I don't know which side Siddharth is. So Michael, because you guys said that MS Dhoni should have, because I understood that, you said that MS Dhoni should have waited. Now, what do you make of a Michael Vaughan and how would you respond to a Michael Vaughan saying that if there was ever a time for a group of players to show awareness, is that MS Dhoni's last game and those players have run around the ground
Doing handstands.
So you could have, basically saying you could have shook hands and done it. So he has a different point of view to the two that you guys have. How would you respond?
I have one rebuttal. Mr. Michael Vaughan, the guardian of everything pure in our sport, did him and his England team, when they beat Australia 2-1 in one of the best Ashes series, did he first go and shake their hands, or did they run around the ground, soak in the atmosphere, grab the stumps, then afterwards go and shake the hands of the Aussies?
Okay.
Now please don't give me that justification of, oh, but that's a big rivalry. I mean, in the context of the IPL, RCB CSK is a big rivalry and they just wanted to secure the playoffs. You didn't shake hands and do your cartwheels and stuff then, no? You did your cartwheels, you got the emotion out, and then you went over the opposition and said, hard fought, mate, all the best. That's how it is.
By the way, but just a small this thing, in 2005, anyway they couldn't have shook their hands on the field. You know why? Bad light, both were inside the dressing room. So that anyway was never telecast.
No, I'm saying even aside from that, when they made it 2-1 in the previous test, or when they drew things, it was, they celebrated like crazy. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is the same team where Flintoff went and was actually sledging, was it Brett Lee? Yeah.
Okay, a similar sentiment there by Harsha Bhogle as well. He has said that you can win a World Cup final, you can display your emotion, but you still shake hands with the opposition. It is a great thing in the game. It is symbolic of antagonism getting over, then go back and celebrate. He's talking from RCB's point of view, right? Is that what he's trying to say? He's saying that RCB should have shaken hands and not celebrated. Is that what he was saying?
I've never seen that happen in any sport wherein you're tempering your celebration, going to shake hands. It's always the other way around.
No, so since both of you said that RCB had all the right to celebrate, and fair points that you made, and then MS could have waited a bit longer, but we've heard two commentators of the game say that because it was, I mean in general, because it was MS's game, could they have cut short their celebration and gone and shaken his hand? Would you want to remember MS Dhoni's last game like this? Yeah, your chance. Harshit.
See, the point that Michael Vaughan or Vaughan, whatever.
Morgan.
Yeah, the point that Michael Vaughan makes about, RCB players being more aware and there was no better time to be aware. See, there's nothing wrong in an athlete being selfish. For them, for all the RCB players who took part in that match, that was a match where their lives were on the line, where their qualification was what was on their mind and not MS Dhoni's farewell. If you ask me, did RCB approach this game looking at, oh no, it is MS Dhoni's farewell, so a certain CSK is going to turn up? No, they knew this is do or die, so this was a must-win situation for them. So were they obliged to think about this being supposedly MS's last game? Has MS said it's going to be his last? Did CSK ever say this was his last?
Definitely.
Were they ever to think that this was to be MS's last? No, no one was supposed to. This was everything around MS's retirement is all hearsay at the moment. Nothing concrete.
But Virat did mention that it's probably the last time. So he had an inkling, right? Remember before the game he says
but
that
we had a similar inkling last year as well. Yes.
No, but I'm just saying that he was not aware to that point, that he was aware. Like the team was kind of aware, right? He mentions that.
Sort of. See, the word was around.
So then going back to these
can
two.
that be held against RCB players?
No, cannot be. But I'm just saying that this is the point.
They knew, but even then, I still think, I mean, every major sporting event that I've ever seen, you'll celebrate first, then go shake hands.
Yeah,
that's just
and
the order.
Are we really? I know there is talk about having a stop clock for to reduce the time between change of overs. But are we going to have stop clocks now for celebrations also after matches get won and lost?
I mean, see, there are teams that have bucked the trend in this case.
Also,
New Zealand, South Africa,
with
2015
Harsha Bhogle,
World Cup semi-final.
But there's a big context to that, no? 2011 things got very ugly.
Yeah,
that is the main reason. There is a context to that.
But this makes you feel, when I read Harsha's comments, it makes me feel that handshake was altogether snubbed. It was a minor delay. That's all it was. It wasn't a snub. A snub is something that you look at differently, and then
I think that's a very good point.
And let me reiterate, it was a delay only for one person, not for the entire team.
But you just said that they shouldn't have delayed.
Because see, it has divided this entire opinion on this case. But because it was an MS Dhoni at the front, they didn't see it, he walked away.
Acha, but I've still not got it. Should they have delayed or not delayed? They should have delayed.
Yes.
It's okay to delay. No, I didn't. So
yes, they should have delayed.
So then they're not wrong.
The celebration.
They're allowed to celebrate. Okay, fair point. Then at least I get what is. So you're okay that they celebrated. No, okay. So that okay. Get me to those visuals. My thing on that is that I'm seeing it from MS Dhoni's point of view, and he's getting a lot of flack for this, right? For not shaking the hands, he's getting a lot of flack for it, and I'm only seeing it from MS's point of view because I think that perspective also needs to come out. While I agree that there is no stop clock, and RCB had all the right to celebrate, and probably at that moment, while I'm not buying that argument that they did not know this was his last game, probably all of them knew that. But having said that, I don't think at that moment it would have stuck them that we need to do that. So 100% benefit of the doubt, and what they've pulled off is a minor miracle. So in that time, if they forgot everything else and was celebrating, no blame. But 2-3 things that I want to point from MS's point of view, because he's getting a lot of flack for not having waited, and specifically Harshit, Shane, and to begin with, even Siddharth pointed that out, that he should have waited longer. See, I'll tell you few things that I'm looking from his point of view. One is that the visual that Pawan showed me from last time around, right? Now here's an MS Dhoni who, when his team won a final of the IPL last time, they were celebrating, but he cut short that celebration, saying that listen, this celebration can happen later. First we need to shake hands, let's not keep them waiting. So all I'm saying is that he has a certain standard in his mind. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm not saying that RCB are wrong, but he has a certain thing in his mind, right? And so when now he sees the other team not follow that, again I'm not saying what RCB did is wrong, but I'm guessing he is going by his own standards.
High standards.
Or no, I'm not even getting into high. Maybe for somebody it's not high, but I'm saying that's his outlook towards the sport, right? It's like saying that Mankad. Okay, just going by the
it is like the spirit of the game argument.
Yeah, like a Mankad thing, where for somebody a bowler is also right if you were taking that advantage going out, he's also right. But if a certain player felt that you are trying to dismiss him, and that purposely you were waiting for him to go and he feels like that, maybe he also has a right to be aggrieved, because if he was the bowler or if he was the captain, he would never do it. So that sort of a situation. So in his mind, he feels that if you are celebrating for slightly longer, then you are disrespecting the opposition, is his thought. Okay, and so he felt at that time disrespected. I'm not saying
he has a view of
correct.
things.
Correct. I'm not saying RCB doing it on purpose.
Okay.
Not that.
No, they're not
but in
doing
his mind,
Yeah.
he feels that this
Because
is
he has
disrespectful.
been mindful of the opposition far
Correct.
greater than his personal joy. He
in the
expects
past.
the same treatment.
Yeah, he expected that. So that is one reason. Second, the other thing that a lot of people are pointing out that, because it wasn't too long, the openers are also coming out right now. See, typically what happens in a game, firstly, the openers only come off after their handshakes are over. Now we are assuming that the handshakes here happened in the normal course of time, as in the normal time. This could have taken much longer for the handshakes to have been over because RCB was celebrating. See, even the batter waits, right? Players get free. Now, if that opposition team is celebrating for longer, then you as batter are also slightly longer on the pitch. Once everyone is done with their celebration, then you shake. So maybe this is slightly, I'm just giving benefit of the doubt, maybe this is slightly longer in terms of celebration, and they're finished and they're getting off. And another thing that really, stands out in the bat, the batters usually, if you see, in most games, okay, pull out the footage and I looked at it, usually the opposition team and batters are roughly coming around the same time, in most games. So when the batters are walking off, the opposition team is also walking, and that's when the handshakes happen. So your own team guys are going, it all happens. Here that wasn't the case. It wasn't going to happen like that. There was going to be a bit of a gap between so I'm guessing when MS walks out, he sees only his two batters coming and they're still in the middle of the celebration. He feels that they are taking much longer. They should ideally have been with the batters coming out.
CSK batters are.
Now this is nitpicking, some might say, and maybe that is right. But as I said, because he in the past had that, and I think Shane pointed out, that's very subjective. What is to be done? I'm not saying that RCB is wrong to have decided that, but I'm only looking at it from MS's point of view, that because he was mindful of this fact when his team also won, he feels that if the other team is not mindful, in his eyes, it's wrong. In your mind, and Siddharth's eyes may not be wrong, they have all the right to say, but in his eyes he felt wrong and he went off. Now what would I do in that situation? If I was in MS's place, I probably would have waited, because I would have realized today is not my day, it's RCB's day. I could have waited.
And this is where Siddharth's point comes
but
in.
I'm also seeing MS's point.
But I'm also
I would have
taking
waited
Siddharth's point over that yes, because he's only mortal to probably realize that now his occasion's been eclipsed by something else.
So is it a bit salty, you're saying?
Could have been, and it's only human. I see nothing wrong. Again, I will go back how many times in all the dismissals of MS Dhoni did we see this whole IPL, which were handful few dismissals by the way.
Yeah.
Did we see him punch his bat? But yesterday we saw him do that as well. Day before.
But that was minor, I like not too much. I think that was like try to hit a 6. It was the difference between winner.
Yeah, but again, see when
It's not the first time he's done it. He's done it for the second time. I remember 2016 in that T20 World Cup, New Zealand. He went for a big hit against Santner, got hold out. He did this.
Yeah, I'm saying
it's not nothing new from Dhoni.
This IPL, how many times have we seen a reaction from Dhoni that every time he's gotten dismissed, which is only 4 times.
4 times.
Exactly.
But there were too many emotions. There was probably that personal occasion in mind. There was CSK qualification in mind. And
It all tumbled down.
yeah,
In that heat of the moment, everything
reaction
tumbled
from
down.
So
Dhoni
if it
also.
did, he's allowed to be human and then walk off.
he is.
I'm just saying, just as
But was it
RCB,
the right thing to do? No.
okay, so just as RCB were allowed to celebrate longer, and we completely agree with that because it's a rare day for them. Just as that, if MS was upsetting, but I would be very surprised. I would be very surprised that he's gone off because he's salty. I think it was more salty of the loss. I don't think that's MS Dhoni. See, all the years you've seen him see highs and lows. While you're right that he's also human, that he can also feel hurt not winning the game, and especially because remember he was in a position where he could have won them the game. It was in their control. So he's personally disappointed. But I still don't see him, because all this while, and he's quoted the Gita, and I think he's quite often than not shown it on the field also, that wins and losses has taken it in his stride. He's had tougher days. So I don't think it could have been the result that upset him. If anything, the point that I made, because he set that as a like a gentleman's code in his mind, that game is done, you respectful of the opposition, be there on time when the opposition batters are coming,
all of this,
you line up,
he
you
feel
shake.
disrespected.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. In his mind, like he's quite a, why I thought of that, he's quite a fudgy in his mentality, right? he's quite regimented
Yes,
in that thought process, and that is what got me thinking. Why would would it been the result that would have upset him when he walks off? I don't think so. I don't think result has upset. Yes, he was upset. He did that thing, went off, but yet if you remember, he comes out, walks. So just as when that celebration of last IPL where he's on a high, he's still mindful of the situation around and says no, cut short the celebration, let's go shake hand. I think even here in disappointment, he would have been mindful of the situation, and he takes certain things, many could call it anal, right? I mean, for some people it wouldn't matter, but in his case, because as I said, he's
Touchy subject.
like he's a Fauji kind of thinking that once the game is done, all you do is get up, you shake hands, you be mindful of the opposition, don't let them wait, you have to come. And he himself goes by that thing. And if others are not, does not mean that they're wrong, but because they're different, right? They could be made up of, slightly different mindset. Yeah, and so they took that back. But in his thing, he takes it upon himself that this is disrespecting opposition, and that's why if you see his action, he gestures like this. Okay, let it be.
Let it be.
It's like that. Yeah, you celebrate it,
Yeah.
and he walks off. So he's taken that to us. So for him, more than the loss, it was this gentleman's code which he believes has to be followed, which he himself puts, those tough standards on himself. As soon as that's not followed,
Yeah.
I'm walking out.
I know.
So would I have done it? No, but maybe because I'm not as regimented as he is, right? I'm a bit more casual. I'm okay. Itna karte
Now I know how the custodians feel about the spirit of the game.
Yeah,
Dhoni also felt the
correct.
same thing.
So like as I said, there could be a player who takes the spirit of the game to heart. Like in that spirit of the game, believe rules are rules. Ashwin does it, follows it, done. Stop arguing. But there are people, right, who take it to heart, right? There are people who take.
How could he do that?
Yeah, how could this is a gentleman's code. We just follow.
not cricket.
It's just not cricket. Itne mein jata hai, you should call people back. Attapattu called.
This person back and Dhoni called Ian Bell.
This guy, the mancutting against Thirimane, that was not allowed. So Sehwag called him.
No,
back.
there was an Andrew Simons edged the ball. He was out. Dharamsena was bowling.
Yeah.
Andrew Simons
I
was
think it
out.
was
Clear
Marwan
edge.
Attapattu.
Yeah, Attapattu. He walks off, and Attapattu realizes there was an edge. Calls him back. Now, I as a captain wouldn't do it. Would Andrew Simons have done it? No.
Not a chance.
Australia would have done it. No. But the thing is that's what I'm saying. That was his mindset. His thing, he felt it was right, calls him back. You and I would not understand it. Similarly, I'm just saying why I put MS Dhoni's point of view. I think four of us, as I said, I'm saying it myself. I don't think what RCB did was wrong. If I was an MS's player, I would have waited. Because I would have said it's their moment, I'll let them say. But I know where he's coming from because I tried to think about it and I looked at various other things. And I know that this is in his mind. For him, that is more important than, a bit of sledging that somebody can get upset to. He feels this is a gentleman's code. You have to be there. Shake your hand, boss. Game is done. Don't make me wait. I will not do it to you. You don't do it to me.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. That's what happened.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions. Let's take some of those.
Gurupal says, but MSD shook hands with other RCB staff because on-field players were celebrating.
Exactly what
And
I was
he
saying.
pointed out Rituraj to do the honors as Ritu is the captain. This is such a disgraceful comment by Siddharth.
Okay.
Which
see,
one? I really have to ask, which one?
No. The point is, but I agree with his first point from Gurupal, is that exactly what I thought. So he wasn't against a handshake. See, if he had been salty because of the result, he would have not. So he goes, he says, okay, you guys are here. You respected my time. I'll shake your hands and I go. But kudos, by the way, to Virat also to have gone looking for MS and he shook hands later. So good on him. He realized that we were celebrating. So just that. Mr. Shekhar, GTN.
Says, good morning all.
Morning. Acha.
It's
US.
morning for him, he's in the US. Says, BCCI has demanded ICC for Guyana as a semi-final venue if they qualify. With ICC bowing down to your muscle flexing whims, don't play if you don't lift the title. At home 2023, same tactics, yet nothing.
No, it's not demanded. They have to, by the way, freeze where India is playing in advance.
Yeah.
Why? I'll just tell you, logistically, it's very tough. So fans have to plan their travel. Forget fans, teams have to plan their travels. In the West Indies, and I'll give you personal experience having traveled, you do not get flights. It's very tough.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and there's a possibility that I go for this T20 World Cup in the US, I'm trying to look for flights. Certain times from going from one island to another, I'm having to take a flight back to the US and come back. So this island and this island could be here, but I have to go here and then come back.
So it's basically you're going roundabout.
So for teams to imagine, when teams move, there's a lot of luggage and there are multiple people moving. It's not possible. You may have chartered flights, but even fans have to book. So imagine fans having to book in advance. So they do their bookings, they can cancel later. If you want to see an India semi-final, hypothetically, you can book at the venue earlier and later cancel it. So if you do not decide that, and it's just a day's gap between qualification, how are you expecting fans to reach? So you have to decide in advance. So one game was given to India, one to other. In fact, India would feel aggrieved
that they got Guyana of all places.
and they're getting the second semi-final, hardly any travel time for the next game, and they have no reserve day also. So at all, so India won't be happy. I don't think it's India flexing muscles. You have to decide. And other thing is the timing also makes a difference. You have to find a stadium with lights because for the other semi-final, because India can play a day game because it's prime time in India audience, and there's nothing wrong because India pays the maximum amount for television, right? So you have to ensure the timing coincides with prime time in India. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you don't get many floodlit stadiums in the West Indies. Providence is one of them, along with St. Lucia. Even Barbados also installed it during the 2007 World Cup. They never had it prior to that.
Correct.
And Brian Lara Stadium, no, I don't think Brian Lara has floodlights. Taruba, so that's why. And the first semi-final is in Taruba. The other one is in Providence. And India are travelling to all 4 venues. And that is a logistical nightmare. Because Barbados is different. St. Lucia
Last
is
year as
different.
well, when the Indian team went in Dominica, I remember they had to wait a lot, and then they were also coming in batches because you don't even have big buses over there that can have the entire team and support staff travel. So there are logistical problems.
I mean, look at it. From Dominica, they went to Port of Spain. Then from Port of Spain, they went to Guyana. Then from Guyana, they went to Lauderhill. It is a terrible. The Americas traveling is a nightmare.
When you tell people it's your last game, recently Virat gave Elgar such an elegant farewell, and same was the case with Sangakkara in 2015. Makes a good point.
But to the argument being made that it was his last game, you could have done differently. But had he announced it, I mean, CSK could have given him a guard of honor himself, but they didn't.
But even, that's because the CSK CEO himself is saying we don't know if it's going to be his last.
Now he may be back next season. No, what I've heard recently is that MS has said that give me some
2
time.
months.
Well, that's fair. Why should he have to be forced into making
Anyway, we never expected he would make that statement after the IPL.
I expected that 1 month before the IPL we'd get an Instagram story.
I would have assumed
I've been
before the
expecting
mega
one
auction.
for the last 48 hours.
Mega auction. 1
Are
month
you ready
before
for
the
it
mega
or
auction.
not?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 month before the mega auction.
Full 5 minutes of it.
Okay, good.
Shubham Garg is saying, Nick sir, differences in 2023 final. CSK team was celebrating in dugout, not on the pitch. Because CSK was batting. In this, RCB was celebrating on the pitch.
That's a good, interesting way of looking at it also, because all 11 players would have been on the field. Whereas at that point in time, I mean...
Look, when Jadeja got that 4, he ran. He ran towards the dugout, and that took a lot of time.
But I'm saying, see again, whichever way, that celebration in the dugout also could have carried on for very long. Because everyone would want to meet a Jadeja, hug, all of that. But he ensured that, stop this, there is a team. Do it. That, I'm again not saying that his standards are the standards everyone has to follow, abide by. It's in his own mind. Somebody had. That's why I'm saying if I was MS, I would have waited. But maybe he felt.
Yeah. Mayank Madan. MS को महात्मा क्यों मानते हैं सब? Bogle as I know. I don't know. I mean,
You should read first and then not get into that.
I'm not getting into that anyway.
So MS को महात्मा क्यों मानते हैं, which is a valid question.
Exactly, he's human.
Exactly.
Even the original Mahatma was human. They were just called Mahatma by people.
Yeah.
We're all humans.
Exactly.
Great.
Okay.
Agreed. Nobody should. And if you watch our show, you definitely know Mahatma nahi mante.
I know.
With Siddharth sitting next to me.
It's impossible.
Impossible.
So definitely. No, but to be fair, MS खुद को महात्मा नहीं मानता है. He's pretty
He's not Mahatma Singh Dhoni.
Good wordplay.
Gurupal, comment on Siddharth was done by mistake.
Achha.
Okay, no problem.
Fair,
First
but,
one.
Taken.
Gurupal, just spell his name right, Sonali request, because if you are struggling now, you'll be in for a shock few days later.
Okay. Let's go. GGK says MSD was affected by aggressive celebrations by Virat. It's like when your younger sibling celebrates more. Would he MS be
I
affected?
highly doubt.
No.
Doing MS. He's won 5 titles. How does it matter?
Exactly, 5 titles, yeah.
RCB have gone to the playoffs for only the 9th time in the 17 years.
Okay, Indian says Dhoni wanted to catch a train. But he caught a flight, he's already reached Ranchi. And
Yeah.
the flight was next day.
Yep.
Okay. Sarat Chandra says, sir, the biggest topic is broadcaster versus Rohit. Okay.
But
I
we
don't-
did do a video on that. You can check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Priyanshu, you can take that.
It can be the next dugout topic also. But by then,
But it's already too late.
but by then, so many more things would have happened.
So,
Yeah.
by the time the next dugout would be Thursday.
Thursday.
So,
It's already too late.
Rakesh Bhushan says, Saurav made Steve-O wait in toss. That was wrong. RCB here was at fault. There is a protocol. You need to finish handshake and celebrate whole night in the pitch and at your
no, but
hotel.
that
Is there a
protocol is
protocol,
unwritten.
Rakesh Bhushan?
Yeah. Also, by the way, when Saurav made weight in the toss, no one cared.
That was
Like,
mind
everyone-
games.
Exactly, that was epic level mind games, which I mean was generally seen as us giving it back to the Aussies who had mastered that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It drove Steve-O up the gum tree.
Crazy,
So
you know.
I mean, yeah, perfect.
But again, the problem is Rakesh,
Pawan, go on.
Rakesh Bhushan, there is no protocol which defines all this. It's again like the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
You tend to follow
Ooper.
that. So, in that way.
No, go ahead, Siddharth.
I've mentioned
okay.
it. There is a...
Bas. There is a Priyanshu saying social media shows only toxic side. Virat also went to the dressing room.
Following MSD.
And if MSD would have announced his last game, Virat would have given him that best fair.
Fair.
I completely agree. I think we spoke about that earlier as well.
Ashish, that we put in your
Virendra
super
Singh
chat.
is also saying that
Go.
it's doubtful about MS's last game, but surely DK's last game, he can wait for shaking hands with DK. It's not his last game. DK is playing
Ara
another
is
one.
playing the eliminator.
He's playing Eliminator, so technically not his last game.
Okay. If he can remove that, then I can read more. Deepu is saying Sid is actually a true analyst. The way he analyzed from both points. Yes, both are at fault. Hats off to Sid. Analyze pros and cons and rest left for people. We never want that we don't look at two sides. But I want to know Siddharth's opinion. That's what I want to know. But I was not getting. So first half I got his opinion.
Yeah.
And then he was going reverse. I was like, I'm getting
That was
confused.
only 55%.
So,
Other 49% trailer baki tha.
Sid was a perfect contrarian. He said, forget MS versus Virat, all are at fault. But if this game is at fault, this IPL is at fault,
It's everyone's fault.
everyone's fault. Just shut this
And
thing
fans
down.
are in the wrong always.
This should also be
Boss, there is what happened here at the Chinnaswamy after that. You wouldn't want to.
there. That wouldn't merit a book.
That would merit chapters of it.
No, it wouldn't, because you already know.
I
that,
know.
no?
I mean, yeah, I've lived in that situation. So,
Yeah.
RCB CSK, the top.
Ashish, we did take your super chat, by the way. We did.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's see.
Okay, Mayank, we'll talk about that later.
Shreyansh is saying, are SRH doing what KKR did in 14?
No, what KKR did in 14 was qualify in second place and make it to the qualifier. But actually, to be fair, yeah, they made it the exact same way. Unexpected, but
KKR had consistent winning runs for SRH.
no, they didn't. In 2014, of the first 5 games,
See, they did the double on Mumbai Indians. That's the first time.
But you only won 2 games in the first 5 during the UAE leg. Okay,
Yeah.
the 2 games, one was against MI, the other was RCB, that crystalline catch.
Crystal catch.
Yeah,
yes,
those were the only games. Otherwise, I remember that year, beginning of it, Gauti was in horrible form. And there were genuine doubts over whether or not they'd make it. Then I think they had to win 5 or 6 games in the trot to make it to second. In fact, they were in a position where they were facing, ironically, SRH, and they had to win by an X number of runs within a certain number of overs. And then at that point in time, they did it. Yusuf Pathan hit that very quick 50.
72 of 27, if I can say SRH only.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was the knock, and then after that, they just made it to second. So it's a good point actually. SRH also just about snuck in.
Okay, that's all the time that we have today. But before we wind up, a couple of comments I'm going to take. Deepu says he wants a dugout in the Asian Games squad and the T20 World Cup squad, which is better. We're obviously not going to have that.
Good suggestion.
But he makes a valid point. In between the joke, there is a valid analytical point that he makes.
I think it'll be a close shout.
I'm not sure. Web of Tarangi says RCB players were overly celebrating. Okay, over the top celebration. He means it was just a playoff qualification that could have irritated MS. No, but I don't agree with that. Just a playoff for them from where they were.
It's like a title.
Yeah, no, they needed to celebrate. Anyone would have. You and I were part of any team that did that. Would celebrate. I don't blame that. GDK says Sid opinion was like the speech of Prime Minister. So he's actually complimenting you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
On that. On that note.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. IPL
Another edition
resumes.
of the IPL resumes tomorrow. If you're joining us late, we had a nice heated debate about MS Dhoni
Actually, it won't be
versus.
tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first.
Okay, take a pick before we wind up. Who's winning the title? Go quickly. And if you're interested in the Dhoni-Kohli debate and you're joining us now, do check that out. We spent a lot of time discussing that. Go pick your
KKR.
KKR. Dear God.
Oh boy. It has to be KKR or SRH, right? From RCB, RR, I mean, stats says.
Statistically say it's always the qualifier one teams that.
I would have picked RR, but now what they've done the last few games, even I'm scared of them doing it. I'll also go KKR.
Ooh, 4 zip. Man, oh man.
By the way, we must tell everyone about what Siddharth has said. Siddharth's made a big promise to the entire team. He's gone all the way to make that promise.
I know why you're making it. I know why you're mentioning this on air.
It has to be
Look,
something that
I had gotten into 10-15, not 4 lakh. Please.
No, I'm not saying for everyone. Promise remains the same, but Siddharth has gone all the way and said
That
to
if RCB
everyone
win
that
the
if
title.
RCB win the title, he is treating those who eat non-vegetarian food with biryani and those who eat vegetarian food with pizzas, everything on him.
Well done. Such a
Sprouts.
Sprouts for the health food.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Exactly one of them, and I'm sure it doesn't take much to guess who that is.
I know.
Okay, lovely. Look forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay, Rakesh Bhushan says RR has not won in May and RCB has won all in the month of May.
Yes.
Who's going to break the trend in Eliminator?
100% it will be RCB,
RCB
winning.
winning.
I really do not see RR. Sadly, their slump came at the worst
I know.
possible time.
It's, I think I'm also backing Shane. It's RCB.
But I think RCB's winning run is there for one more match. At one point, it has to snap.
No, that's
But
all.
I'm
last
going law
one.
of averages and going with RR.
Okay.
So you're saying it's snapping?
Law of
now.
average.
Now they've lost 4
Losing
in the third.
streak, winning streak.
But the
Some
biggest
tension.
points table, RCB, WWWW, 4th position, RR, LLLL, NR, 3rd position.
That's what early season form does.
Seriously.
Okay, bye bye. Take care. Vanakkam,
Nandri.
Nandri, Shubhratri, Shabba Khair, whatever. See
your
you tomorrow.
vegetables.
Yep.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.